Hello, hi, good morning you guys. How the hell are you? Welcome back to my channel. Bit of a different video from me today. I'm going to be doing a sit down chatty Q&A. I'm feeling very Zoella, a little bit hilarious, but this is the kind of YouTube that I used to watch growing up, and I don't know, I thought I'd do it because I realised recently it's been like 3 years since I got my first ever London Marathon spot, which means it's coming up to 3 years since I've just been doing this whole content thing, and I figured over those 3 years we've been on a bit of a wild ride. If you've been here from the beginning, like we've been through many a phase. Maybe you joined from my marathon era or eras, traveling, dating, solo living, like who knows where you've joined me. And I just thought I get some fun questions in my DMs. I figured we could get to know each other a little bit more. I've also just turned 28, so like I don't know, felt like a good time to do a Q&A. And there were a fair few questions, some of them so unbelievably bold. I feel like this is going to be quite gossipy, potentially a little bit deep, we shall see, but I've split them up into different categories, so like running, mental health, solo living, dating, influencer life, and my goals and stuff. So I'm just going to dive right in, to be fair. Thank you so much if you did ask some questions, and also happy to make this like a monthly thing, because I actually really love to just sit down and talk to a camera. Don't know if that makes me weird, but I'd love to make this a monthly thing. If you have more questions, just like put them in the comments or DM me. But let's dive on in. I've just made myself a coffee. My sage, me and my sister fixed my sage last week, and I'm so unbelievably happy about it. And I've got really good at latte art. I can't really show you because it might spill. Anyway, questions. So first one, okay, but for real, how are you really? Like, give us the version you'd only tell your best friend. Which, first off, gorgeous. Thank you so much for asking. Do you know what? I'm doing really, really good. I have had a really wobbly year. So we're currently in November. Started the year with dengue fever, which I don't think I quite realised how much knocked me physically. And then after, again, like 2 years of doing this job, I had a really big wobble with my mental health in around like March, April, May time, where basically I really burnt out and was just really struggling with my mental health. Like, it had been deteriorating a little bit and I was aware of it, but it kind of all came to a head in May, severely burnt out. But I'm really glad that happened, because it meant that I hit this like rock bottom that I didn't realise I needed, meant that I went back to therapy, meant that I finally got the help with my ADHD that I have always needed for literally like 2 decades, and I'm now 2 months into medicating for that, which is partly a contributor as to why I'm feeling fantastic. I've also been back home for a week. I've been traveling so much this year, which has been amazing, but I'm really loving being back home and being back in a routine. I'm feeling really good. I also haven't drunk for a month, which, again, I'm back on my training. I haven't been drinking. I've like really got to grips with my mental health and like made some big massive moves there. And yeah, I just feel like I'm in a really good spot right now. I'm feeling really happy and really like at peace with a lot of stuff, and also really excited about things that I'm training for and things that I'm doing with work. So yes, the version I tell my best friend is pretty much that, to be fair. I caught up with one of my best friends from home, Sophie, last night. We just sat in the Joe and Juice for like 3 hours after work. It was gorgeous vibes. But I literally just like told her that I'm having like, I think I've always struggled with friendships. I haven't struggled with friendships. I find, if I'm being completely honest, things that I would be telling my best friend is that I find it hard with friendships at this age, where I think I've been single for so long that like friendships for me hold such a high priority. And not that I don't always feel like that's reflected, but like it is just a hard adjustment in your 20s, right, when like romantic partner becomes a bigger priority, and then when you don't have that, it's just a bit tough. So I found navigating that tricky, and I have felt the pressure of like fucking everyone getting engaged and married and having kids and moving out a little bit like, oh. So the version I would tell my best friend is that I'm having a really good time, work's fantastic, mental health's feeling fantastic, training's feeling really, really good, loving being at home, everything's cool. Friendships, I'm just like finding it a tricky one to navigate in your 20s, but also like feeling really grateful for my female friendships, because I have had like such an amazing 20s so far, even when I've been so single. Dating has been weird just because I have found it hard where I've been on the go a lot, and like the London dating scene is just the trenches, man. And I also think that the reason I'm struggling is because I'm now like so beyond my casual just having fun era, which I very much had, and I have had a lot of fun, but like I don't know, I'm feeling really ready for something more. And it's just frustrating when you can't find that. And also like, I have been single for so long. I've been single for like 8 years now. And everyone's always like, oh my God, it will come when you're not looking for it. And I'm like, queens, I am like the queen of not looking for it. Like, I will occupy myself with work and stuff. So it's now just finding that balance of like, yes, making sure I'm focusing so much of my energy on building my life to be big enough without someone, but also like making space for someone, which I think I've been really bad at. Like, I've never made space for someone. That's the update I'd tell my best friend. But overall, fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. Next question. Do you feel like you are living the life younger you dreamed of, or are you still trying to get there? Now, this is so interesting because I feel like growing up, I never really like knew what I wanted my life to look like. If you would have asked me at 18 when I was in a relationship and was very much on my straight and narrow path, like I was always really academic. I thought my dream life was to go to uni, get my degree, get into a job in sustainability, move out with my boyfriend, get married, have kids. that's genuinely what I thought my trajectory was. So like in that respect, no, I'm not living the life that I dreamed of. But I also think my life right now is way bigger and way better than that life I dreamed of. Like I thought that was my limit. Whereas like now I feel like I've just shown myself that my life is different. So in terms of younger me, I was actually having this conversation with my granny yesterday. I went for coffee with her. Took her on her first ever trip to Gale. She'd always been too nervous to go in on her own. She loved it. Gorgeous, just like the best woman ever. And I was saying to her about how this year has literally been not even just like my vision board in real life, but like beyond my vision board. Like the amount I've been able to travel and the creative freedom I have with my work and the fact that I've now got a team on my influencer career and a team on my TRC business is beyond my wildest. And it's weird because I think you're just going through phases. Like it has been on my vision board, so that would be what I've dreamed of and more, but I'm ready to not do that next year. I'm ready to, I will always love to travel, but I'm ready to calm down a little bit. Like I'm loving being home. I want a bit more structure. I want a bit more routine. And so I think my dream is just changing every year. And I'm really loving that I've become the kind of person who can adapt to that, because I used to be so bad with change and I used to really want to stick on my plan. And so it's quite fun and nice now to be like, oh, cool. Like my dream or what I want to be doing can change next year. And in terms of like, am I still trying to get there? I just don't think I've ever really seen my life as like a point that I'm trying to get to. Do you know what I mean? Like I really do love the whole process of getting to places. And like since being on my running journey, that's like even solidified that belief in me where the marathon isn't the thing, it's the process of getting there and then like what it enables you to do elsewhere. Like I don't really see it as like, oh, I'm aiming to get there when I've got that, like fantastic, like, which is a blessing and a curse because I'm always on to the next thing. You know, don't know if that answered that, but I'm going to move on anyway. What's something you learned about yourself this year that hurt a bit? That's a fun question. I feel like there's a few things. I feel like in some respects, my initial reaction to that was the ADHD diagnosis hurt me a bit because I rejected that for literally years. When people would always tell me like, I mean, it was obvious, no one was fucking surprised, but I really rejected it because for some reason I had this like built up belief that like, that was me. I don't know where it came from, but like, I didn't love being told that I was ADHD. So that hurt a bit, I guess, and like was a weird acceptance, weird diagnosis to try and navigate personally. I also think I learned about myself that there are a couple of things in that period of therapy after I burnt out. Like I learned a lot about myself. One of them being, again, with the whole dating thing, like I'm not very good at leaning on people and making people feel needed. And I don't think I've ever really been the best in like super close relationships, which is kind of linked to mental health stuff. But I found it hard to accept and process that I'm the problem. I have been the problem in the past, or like part of the problem, you know? Like I have been quite selfish for the last few years, which I don't think I'll ever look back and regret. But when I'm thinking about who I want to be and the kind of person that I want to be to my friends, to my family, to like people in my life, I don't want to be selfish. And while I've really glorified that and I have loved my like selfish era and it's served me well in terms of some measures of success, I don't want to be that person. I want to be the kind of person who makes really thoughtful decisions towards people and like goes above and beyond and does all the little things and makes space for people and does stuff without expecting anything back. I want that. I want to be that person. So it's been quite hard to accept that the person I've become is hyper independent, quite selfish, very motivated, like all of that stuff is amazing and I'm glad I've done it. It's not necessarily who I want to be, which I found like, again, a hard identity shift. This year's been a lot of learnings. A lot of learnings. Anyway, moving on. Next category I've done is running. So when you stopped running last year, was it burnout or self-doubt? And I presume here you are referring to, what was last year? I feel like my running journey has just been a little bit interesting, really, hasn't it? Because I first started, I mean, like, for like 10 years, I would go to like one park run or try and do a 5K, despise it, back on it. Like, there was that cycle. And then when I first got that marathon spot, I started running. That's when I talk about my running journey because that's when I like, consistently started to run. Loved it. Amazing. Cool. Did the marathon. Did the Hackney Half. Ran all summer. Lovely. Got injured. Didn't stop running. Ran the Lisbon Marathon. Injured. Fucked it. Couldn't run for the rest of the year. That was injury. And that knocked my confidence. That knocked my self-doubt. And that like kind of knocked down a lot of the identity that I built up with this job and with the whole trajectory that came with my running journey. Following year, I trained again for the London Marathon, amazingly, but really shouldn't have done it. This was the start of me really struggling with my mental health, to be fair. I mean, I don't know, I think the start of my life demands becoming too much for my self-managed ADHD to manage. Anyway, had a nightmare on that marathon, and I think I stopped running for a fair bit after that, or I just ran for fun over summer. That was definitely like, I think a self-doubt thing from the fact that I just pushed too hard, because I just like when I first started running that first time. Like I had mad progress and the dopamine you get from that progress and like beginner's gains. I was just in a very different phase of my life. I was living at home. I had my meals made for me. My business was much smaller. My influence and demands were much smaller. My life demands were smaller. I was like, living at home. And so I could commit so much more brain power and time and just energy to running. And so I saw that reflected. And then when my life demands increased, I couldn't commit that much to it. And so I was expecting the same results without the same input. And that was like obviously knocking my confidence. And then what else? I mean, I guess I didn't run towards the end of last year. I did some 10Ks, did some halves. Yeah, I had a bit of a break, I guess. I think it was a mixture of burnout and self-doubt, because I think me burning out meant that my progress slowed, which then encouraged the self-doubt, if that makes sense. And then even when I did my 4th marathon earlier this year when I went to Norway, that was just like peak of that burnout period. My mental health was in the bin. So like that, I'm really glad I did. It was really cool. I actually was very confident that I could do it then. It was more like at that point I was kind of like out of the trenches of the burnout, and that marathon kind of proved to me that I could do hard things even when I was struggling. So that was like a part of the comeback. I don't know if that answered your question. Do you ever worry because your body doesn't look like a runner and that people judge? Do you know what? I love the bold question. Thank you so much. Answer is yes, massively. So if you're new here, I have struggled with disordered eating. Trigger warning, please skip if not your vibe, for like literally as long as I can remember. From when I was like 15, let's say, was when it first started happening. And I always think a lot of that massively, when I looked back at it and when I've like, again, deep dived in therapy as like the root of that issue for me, obviously diet culture and like societal pressures, but because I'm tall, I'm 5'9", and I had my growth spurt in literally like year 6, I've always been a big girl. I've always been taller than the boys. I've never been like the petite girly girl, and I'm also like I'm feminine, but like I'm not like petite girly girl. And I think that really was like a core belief system for me that like reflected in a lot of the ways I would then feel about my body. And so I think I always felt that probably contributed as to why I didn't want to do sport, because I never felt like I like looked like a girl doing sport, if that makes sense, growing up. So that's where like all of that started. And then again, when I first started running on that initial journey, it's all comes together. I lost a lot of weight at the same time, which was, to be honest, a really fantastic time for me. I think that's the period that I got over a lot of my disordered eating beliefs and like habits. Amazing, gorgeous vibes. And towards the end of that first year, I felt like I finally looked like a runner. And like I felt like I belonged in the space, and like that reflected in everything else that I was doing. Like my confidence was through the roof. And then when I got injured that time, and when your body's like adapted to marathon training and your appetite is adapted to marathon training, like coming back from that, my body changed. And like my default body, like the body that like at the time as well, with what I was going through in my brain, could sustain, wasn't like a super lean, like I've got boobs, I've got a bum, I've got a waist, I've got hips, I've got a feminine shape. It's not particularly a runner's build, like really not. I've got legs for sure, but it doesn't seem to pay me that much. But like I'm not really built like your stereotypical runner. And I think again that always played into like a lot of my self-doubt in thinking that I belonged in this space and believing that I was able to run fast and things like that. So that was definitely like a really bad, I don't know what the word is, but like, you know, like a reinforcement cycle. Like I couldn't run so much, I was gaining weight, and then I didn't believe that I could run that fast, and I thought people were judging me. And I also like, I'm aware that I put my life online, but I have had comments over the last few years about the fact that my weight has fluctuated. And for as long as I can remember, again, my weight has fluctuated. So as soon as I got out of that initial period of like the mad progress, that getting over disordered eating habits, and I was at the time unknowingly struggling with poorly managed and completely unofficially diagnosed ADHD, which was a massive root cause of my binge eating, that even when I felt like I was not having the same thought processes as I did when I was in rife eating disorder period, I was just still couldn't do the binge eating thing, and I didn't really understand what was going on with me. And so I have struggled with binge eating for a really long time, and that is why my weight has fluctuated, and that's definitely not been ideal with a public job, because people see it and people do love to comment on it, and that's part of it. That's okay. And so I think that's also massively fed into like when I have been bigger, it's normally when I'm struggling more as well, and then you have people commenting interesting things, like some of the DMs I've got, I'm always just a bit like, I would just never send a DM to someone saying that's why I always find it hard. But I also like, I never know what they're going through, you know? So yeah, ultimately, I mean, I'm feeling much more, I've actually got a thing on my phone right now called, downloaded an app called Days Since, and I wanted to track how long I haven't been binging for, and I haven't binged for over a month, which I genuinely think is the longest time I've done since I was literally like 15. So pat on the back for me, and really cool to be getting to the bottom of the root cause right now. But yeah, I do worry that my body doesn't look like a runner, and I wish that I didn't, but I am only human, and I do worry that people judge, because in my experience people do judge. But I also am aware enough that I know when people are judging, it's more of a reflection on them than it is on me. So I am pretty good at not taking it that personally. It's just, obviously it does play on my mind. Is the Berlin Marathon a confidence thing or a redemption thing? Ha! I love these! These are such good questions. So if you, for context, I have done 4 marathons. My first one was my fastest one, 4 hours, 23 minutes. And I don't know where it's come from. I just really want to do a sub 4 hour marathon. It might be for clout, it might be to prove something, but like, I just want to do it, okay? Allow me. I want to do it for myself. I want to prove to myself all of that self-doubt wrong, all of that body image stuff wrong. I want to do it for me and know that I'm capable. So on my 30 before 30 list, I wrote, I want to do Berlin Marathon. So I'd say it's a combination of both. It's a redemption thing to come back from all of this mental health struggle that I've been just like going through, and a confidence thing because I want to prove to myself that I'm capable of doing it. So a combination, and I think that's okay. We're all only human. What is the thought that gets you out of the door when you'd rather hide? I presume this is also kind of linked. I think this was a response to, like, I'm doing a series on my Instagram right now where I'm a morning person to my core, basically, and I'm trying to film and like every single morning and get myself back into my morning routine. I actually don't know. There's never been a specific thought. Like, I don't live by a quote. I just always think, like, you just have nothing to lose. Like, the time is going to pass if you're sat in your bed or not, and I know what makes me feel good now. I know that getting up and getting out and doing something for myself in the morning, getting up, or not in the morning, whenever, makes me feel good, and that's the end goal, to make the most of this like life that we've got, right? I don't know, I'm gonna have to think on that one, but that one's interesting. I've just literally like copied and pasted all the questions, so if I'm like filtering through them, I'm trying to also collate them. Do you ever miss the control that you used to have around food? Interesting. There were quite a lot about food, to be fair. I always forget how many people must follow me from my relationship with food journey, which I think is interesting. No, not at all. And I also think that's a strange one for me anyway, because a lot of the things like I've struggled with food have been controlled to an extent, but also a lack of control with the binge, and like it was always a wider issue. It's never like, again, what I'm learning in this whole navigating ADHD thing is like, it's never been that I'm not a disciplined person. It's always been that there's like been a bigger imbalance at play. So for me, it was always like, I guess in the disordered eating days, I'd have quite big control around my food, but no, I don't miss it at all. Fuck that. Food is literally my favourite thing in the world. I don't want to ever go back to that. What's a fear food that turned into a comfort food? Peanut butter, biscuits. Oh, do you know how much I love a dark chocolate digestive? Pasta, olive oil. Oh, smash that on absolutely everything. Thank you so much. Toast with butter on. Smash. Anyway, I just literally am such a foodie. How do you balance discipline without sliding into old patterns? Very good follow-up question. That was a really good order from me, Rihanna. So I do find this interesting and something that I'm very much trying to navigate, because I think I have a interesting opinion on this. I don't know if it's a hot take, but so obviously a lot of us grew up in the whole like diet culture, strict discipline era, which was quite high pressure, I would say, like super strict, extreme boundaries, unhealthy boundaries, toxic vibes. And then there was this big movement into like anti-diet culture, no boundaries, eat whatever you want, skip all your workouts, or like, I don't know, like drink loads, go out all the time, balance. But it was more like we almost slipped into like extremeness. And I think, for me personally, we have to find some kind of a middle ground where I've had to learn as well, like boundaries are important, essential, healthy, not always restrictive. And I think that's how I tried to balance, like, give yourself grace and like give yourself, and like try and learn to like listen to your body more, but also like having boundaries is healthy. So it's like yesterday morning, I mean, I set like, again, for all of November, I was planning on getting up every morning at 6 and like doing my workout, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday I woke up, I'm in my luteal phase right now, which every single time my recovery just cannot. Like my womb is always like, you're in the bin, you're dead, heart rate's fucked, don't do a workout. And I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to go and do my leg day because I've also got a race on Sunday. I'm doing the Lake Garda half. So I was like, do you know what, I'm going to rest. But instead I like still got up, did something for me. I did like a big fat fucking house clean, like, well, flat clean. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know how to put it into words. I feel like I put this in one of my videos the other day about how it's like we've got to find a balance in that. And I hate always saying balance because it's such a fucking buzzword and no one really knows what it means. I don't even know if like it exists because I think it's different for everybody. But for me, getting up and having a really structured, disciplined morning means that I then have the flexibility to be way more free and fun and like flexible for the rest of the day and like do a little bit more like less disciplined things, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. And with food, I've really had to navigate that, and I'm still navigating that, so I don't want to dive too deep into that, but I have definitely found, like, I found it quite hard when you're trying to recover from binge eating or trying to like fucking get over it. People being like, whatever, like, that was advice I didn't need, and I found that hard, and I'm still navigating it, so maybe I'll touch base on that in a month's time if you want more. Moving on. Do you often feel pressure to look the fittest version of you ever again? Yeah. All the fucking time. Again, I will never lie, and I will never pretend to be like completely out of the dark and out of it with this body image relationship with food stuff. Like, I think when you've been through it, I can imagine it's always going to be somewhat on my brain. It's going to take a lot longer to unlearn than it was to learn it. So yeah, I do all the time. And also, like, I find this again a tricky one, because pressure to look like the fittest version of yourself. I feel motivated to be the fittest version of myself. For me, I also feel motivated to look fitter than I have done recently, because I've spent all of this year looking like the puffiest version of myself ever, because I've been so stressed. Like, there's pressure, and then there's motivation, and then there's also doing it. Like, you're allowed to have an aesthetic goal, and you're also like allowed to want better for yourself. But I also, saying that, if we are being completely transparent on here, it's really, really fucking annoying that my content, and having spoken to so many other people in this industry, performs better when I'm lean. The leaner I am. But then also, I don't know, I like to question, like, is that because I probably feel more confident? I don't know. So I feel pressure in that way, and like, unfortunately, a lot of my success, or like one measure of success in this career, is directly tied to like me as a person, how I look, how I'm performing, blah, blah, blah. Tricky balance that. Gonna move on. Got some questions about solo living and solo travel, which is fun. Also, happy year anniversary to me and my flat. Solo living in London on my own. That's what solo living means. For a year. I love her. Do you like the orange and blue theme? It's quite rogue. It wasn't really an intentional choice, but I do enjoy it. Anyway, do you ever feel lonely as fuck, or is that just me romanticising your life? So, on the back of like kind of tying back into that hyper independent thing a little while, and also where I have just been like literally unable to chill for a really long time. Truth be told, I'd say in the last 6 months, I have actually had moments of feeling lonely. And I was talking to my friend about this last night when we were sat at dinner, because I was like, I have really pushed on my socials as well and spoken about it a lot, solo traveling and solo living, and how much I love it, and I do. But I am, again, I've reached a point in my life where I'm like, oh, but wouldn't it just be so much fun to share it with someone? Wouldn't it be so much fun to like have the memory with someone, or like talk about it with them, or just show them? My sister came around last week, and I cooked her pasta, we sat and watched shitty TV, we went for a walk in the morning, we sat and had breakfast, and then we went for a walk to the power station. I was like, oh my God, it's just so nice for me to just sit and exist with someone, because when you do live on your own, normally when you go and see people, you're making it an event, you're making it a social thing, right? That then requires like doing something. Like, I don't often just like sit and do nothing with people anymore, because that's just like what happens. I don't know, I have found myself feeling a little bit lonely, if I'm being completely honest, but like only in small pockets, because I'm not lonely. Like, I'm actually not. I fucking love my own company, and I have amazing people around me, and I've got so, like, I don't often feel it, but it's more sometimes I'm a bit like, like I was saying with friends and like relationship dynamics changing as you get older. It's just one thing I found really hard is I don't have like a core big group of friends. I have gorgeous pockets of friends from the different areas of my life that I've been, like school, uni, influencer stuff, business stuff, traveling. Like, I have pockets, I'm running, like I have pockets everywhere, and I absolutely adore all of them. But I also don't have like one core person. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you've got a boyfriend, you've got a core person that you go to for like pretty much everything, somebody who always knows you. And I think that's another thing with this job, where when I found like I've had so much going on, I've had so much change, and like my family know me to my core, but I don't see them all the time. And it would just be nice to have somebody who, no matter what was going on in my life, like completely independent of how successful I was being in XYZ, or how fast I was running, or I don't know, whatever I was doing, somebody who knew me to my core. And like, that's what I think I feel lonely for. Do you know what I mean? Don't know if that was a zap thing to say. And romanticising my life, I think I do a really good job of that myself. So like, fair enough if I've made it look really glam, because I just do think it costs me nothing to make my life look fun, and like it makes me not just look in terms of appear on social media, as in like I can tailor my view. I get to control how I perceive things. Do you know what I mean? So I like to look at things and make the most of them and make it look really romantic and gorgeous. But yes, I do sometimes feel lonely. Not often. Alone doesn't mean lonely. And yes, I do romanticize my life, so you probably are too. We all have shit stuff going on. It's not reality. Solo travel, finding yourself or running away. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God, there's 2 men on a roof. They're doing work. It's not dangerous. Well, it's dangerous, but it's not scary. I shouldn't be alarmed, but I'm now distracted. He's climbing down. What is going on? Sorry, distracted. Finding yourself or running away. I think initially finding myself, I think I would encourage absolutely everybody to go on at least one solo trip in their life. I think the stuff that you learn about yourself, and it's so fun and liberating. I just love it so much. So I think you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about what you actually want to do. You learn a lot about how you like to spend your days, about the things that bring you joy, about how confident you are to speak to people about. I think you really do go and find yourself, and like it's seeing yourself. Why I think it's different to solo living or spending time on your own in your city or in your country, like it's seeing yourself completely removed from your surroundings. Like, who are you? Do you know what I mean? Like, what parts of you remain no matter where you are or who you're talking to or what you're surrounded by? What do you still want to do? What are your priorities? What do you not like? What do you notice in other people? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's unreal. But I think recently it's become a running away thing. I think this whole year has been amazing with travel. Like I said, I've loved it. It's been vision board shit, but I think, and also like I've been struggling with impulse control, like in a lot of different areas of my life, and booking flights and running away has been a really quick dopamine fix for me when I've been struggling so much. And I think, again, where I've been struggling with feeling a little bit lonely here, sometimes I think I'd rather feel lonely in like in a cool place that I've never been to before, because that is other goals of mine. Like, but again, like this summer, the last few trips I've been on, when I've been on my own, I've just been a bit like, oh, I don't know, something in my brain has like switched a little bit where I'm just like ready to share stuff with people. Like I would like to do stuff with people. So I think I've been running away a little bit and I don't want to do it anymore. And I've been trying to lean on my friends and like family a little bit more and make more of an effort recently, and it's paying off, which is lovely. What is the hardest night you've had alone in your flat? I did ask for specific questions, but it's a specific question. I mean, the nights when I had dengue fever were rough as fuck, because oh my God, trying to look after yourself when you're that poorly sick as an adult, that's not vibes. That's when I was like deep in my hyper independent era. I have friends who live close. Why didn't I text someone? I was just sat here sweating my tits off, having a mare and not wanting to talk to anyone. Hardest night alone. I've had a couple of like, when I've been deep in my struggling with my mental health, like it's not nice to be alone on your own, like at home. I don't have a specific one that comes to my brain, sorry. Does moving abroad make you feel brave, or does it expose some insecurities? How are you actually feeling about the Mallorca move? So plan is, I've lived in this flat for a year, and I basically like always, for as like long as I can remember, wanted to live abroad and wanted to live somewhere Spanish speaking so I could practice it, because I did Spanish A-level. And I just want to go somewhere. Basically my criteria was within 2 hours of London, Spanish speaking, sea, running culture, cycling culture, coffee culture, food culture, nice people, like good shopping vibes, couldn't be distracted. Palma. So I did a month on my own there last October, and I loved it so much. Met some friends at run clubs, made some cycle club friends, blah, 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 blah. Loved it so much, explored a lot of the island. And then this, literally like a few weeks ago, I went back, viewed some flats, re-met up with the friends that I met last year. And like, I'm moving there basically January, February time it's looking at the moment, just because a loads of estate agents are shut over Christmas and New Year's. So it's going to be tricky to move in January. What was the question? Make you feel brave? It makes me feel brave and it makes me feel excited. I really love currently the idea of having the opportunity to just have a clean slate with my routine and get to pick again what I want to do and have that freedom to like get my head down and train. And I've also got a really fun fitness challenge that I'm going to be training for when I'm out there, which I haven't yet announced. So you can ask that question and I can answer it next month, lol. But yeah, I'm just like really, it makes me feel brave. It makes me feel like, because also as soon as I got back from my traveling the last couple of weeks and I've been back in the flat and I've been really loving it, and I'm feeling really like, again, I'm feeling really good, I'm feeling really at home, blah, blah, blah. I did start to really doubt my decision, if I'm being completely honest. Like this week I've been sat and I was like, oh, I actually do like love my London life. I love everything we're building at TRC. I'm loving going for runs with the girls. I do love it here. And that's okay, because London's not going anywhere. My friends aren't going anywhere. TRC's not going anywhere. My family aren't going anywhere. So if I ever want to live abroad, realistically, like now is my time to do it, because I have very little responsibility in terms of like dependence. Like I haven't got children. I haven't got a pet yet. When I get back though, I don't even have real plants. Like, do you know what I mean? My family aren't, and it's 2 hours away. And I think the fact that it scares me is more of a reason to do it. And the fact that I'm a bit like, trying to find reasons not to do it, because that's not the easy option. It's something that I really want to do. So my current aim is I'm going to go Jan, Feb, probably for a year, maybe 2 years. I'm thinking just to like get the full experience, come back when I'm closer to 30. Like London will always be home. I think my dream is to have a place in London and a place in somewhere like Mallorca, and like be able to go between the two and like have a TRC base in both and do the whole active vibe everywhere and like build my businesses off the back of that. Like I've got really big, I'm going on to business questions, but it exposes my insecurities in the sense of feeling more lonely and still like struggling to like find my person or more my people. Or will my business fail? Will I go there with this intention of training really hard, and will I find it really hard and not do it? Like there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on in my brain, but I think I will kick myself if I don't at least try. So that's the plan. Next up, I got fucking loads of questions on dating. And do you know what's really hilarious? Every time I do a question box on Instagram, my following is like 90% female. Yes, the girls. Just how I like it. The fucking men that crawl back out the cracks when I put up a question box and are like, how do I take you on a date? And I think 101 how to not ask me on a date is to put in a question box on my Instagram. Are you mad? Especially the boys who have my WhatsApp. Politely fuck off. Not even politely, just fuck off. Sorry if that's me being, I don't know if I should put that on the internet. Oh well. Come on, be better, do better. Where's the effort in that? I get it. Like it's probably like a less scary in. So sorry for judging. This was mostly questions from the girls, but there were a couple of questions from guys that I've like tried to collate into a few different like, also these questions I've like put into sentences that have combined multiple questions. First question is, are you scared that you're getting too good at being single? Fucking yes. And that was part of the whole hyper independent thing. Like I've just pushed everybody away, or like I have gone like very all or nothing in like my recent dating situations, and like I think part of that's been a massive coping mechanism. That was a spiel. Yes, I do get scared that I've been too good at being single, and I have no idea how I would even be in a relationship because I'm a completely different person. I've had one relationship in my life, and it was when I was 18. It was a school relationship, like doesn't count. It does count. It was, do you know what, gorgeous experience. The first relationship ended shit, but like gorgeous first experience, no regrets. But I haven't been in I've been in like situationships. Like I've been in what in some cases probably would have been relationships, but like not officially. Do you know what I mean? I am terrified of giving up my independence, but I have recently been working on that, and I'm trying to open myself up to it and stop being so like, that comes with like the whole being independent thing as well. Like I get why it's not exactly been like a real open door to a relationship if I've just been like being so selfish and being so independent and not making anyone feel needed and not making any space for anybody. So I'm just trying to learn how to do that, but obviously it's really fucking scary, and I have also been hurt quite a bit over the last few years, so like I definitely have some fears there. And do you know what the thing is? I really don't want to be this good at being single. I love that I'm so independent. I love that I like don't feel like I need anybody, and I don't need anybody, but I would really love somebody. Yeah, it does scare me a little bit, but I guess we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Next question. Have you ever lowered your standards just because the date looked good on paper? Yes. Unfortunately, yes, I am just a girl. We move. I'm actually being really strict on standards now. Really strict. But then again, even then, who was it? One of my friends, one of my only remaining single friends, the other day I was talking to her, and she was like, we need to find a middle ground between me and her, because I, unfortunately, if somebody gives me like a whiff of low effort or something, I just will drop because I don't want it. But then she gives too many chances, and we're like, we need to find some kind of middle ground because I need to stop cutting people off. Anyway, that's a thing. Have I lowered my standards? Yes, I've let things slip because I say when it looks good on paper, when they tick other boxes, yeah. Because sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, well, if you can work on things, and like, I'm not looking for someone who's like perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm looking for someone who's willing to work on things, right? Or like build stuff together. Who hurt you the most, and what did they teach you? This was a combination of questions I basically like put in there because it was like, I've spoken a couple of times briefly about heartbreak, or like on YouTube and like in my Instagram and stuff. There was a couple of questions asking details, and I obviously don't want to go into details, but that was like a good way of summarizing it. So who hurt you the most, and what did they teach you? And I'd say I basically had a little bit of like quite a big thing of a long-term situationship that was like many months, and I got ghosted, and it was like really quite traumatic for me. And I'd say that was like literally the worst thing ever, because trying to deal with that was just like not vibes at all. And that was probably the closest thing I've had to a relationship, maybe. I don't know. It was a fairly long time ago now. But what did they teach me? I don't know. Do you know what's really funny? Do you know, any other single people out here, do you ever like go through something and you're like, what the fuck was the lesson in that? What was I supposed to have taken from that? Like, why did I need to learn that the hard way? I think that's kind of a situation like that, but it taught me a good lesson in terms of not chasing somebody, as soon as I knew what would happen, it was like, okay, cool, I need to learn to be at peace with that, regardless of like not having my closure with you. And like it taught me how to get closure from situations that I can't physically get closure from. Like it taught me how to like create my own closure, which I think has been really helpful with things that have happened since, where people don't communicate in a way that I need, or just like basic human needs. And I can like be okay now with something ending and me not having to have the last word and me not having to like say something. So it taught me that massively. And it also taught me that it's just like always a projection of them, not on me. That was a very niche situation though. So like moving on. Don't know why I even kept that one in there. I think I wanted to go deep, but actually I just don't talk about it. Be honest, do you like the chase or being chased? This was a guy who asked this, and I thought, I'm sorry, it is human nature to like being chased. Like it's a lovely ego boost, and it's also human nature, I think, to quite enjoy the chase. Is it? I mean, I know I actually definitely prefer being chased than the chase, but I think it's also like that's just human nature, right? Like wanting something that you can't have as part of the chase, and then being chased is like just like ego boost, right? But it's just, I'm a bit of a, again now, like I don't want to play games. It's when people like to do this whole thing of like make them chase, like I just can't be fucked. My brain, I can't be bothered. If I like you, then I like you, and I'll make a big effort, and if I don't, then I won't. That's literally it. I don't want to play games. That's it for dating. That was my one step in. I'm sure I'll get more comfortable with it. I seem to get more comfortable with it. Next category. I had quite a lot of questions on influencer life, which I wasn't going to answer because I just feel a bit weird talking about it. But then I thought, my management is called TBH Talent, and I've been listening to their podcast really recently about their whole ethos is like, ethos, is that the right word? Democratizing the influencer space and like giving more knowledge about it. And I thought, that's a me problem, feeling insecure about sharing this, because I have a weird thing in my brain where I think people are not going to think this job's legit, and that talking about it is just annoying. And listening to them talk about it on the podcast has made me think that like it's fine, I want to talk about it. So what's the hardest part about this job that no one sees? And I would say what I mentioned earlier, where like for me anyway, like I attribute so much of my self-worth to how much I'm performing online, because the kind of page that I have and the kind of like space that I have online is that like I just like kind of share my life. Like it's not like I'm doing a recipe and it's, oh, that recipe was shit, like oh well, like I'm like, oh, this was like a story about my life, was it interesting enough, which is like a validation thing that I need to work on. And I'd say being always on, but that's also like my kind of brain, like I'm not very good at implementing boundaries with work. I find that really hard, to be honest. Do you ever feel like your worth is tied to engagement? Yes. And I'm really working on that, and I'm really working back really currently, and I think I'm doing a good job. And part of the reason why I'm feeling so good recently is because I've figured out how to start creating again, just because I like creating. And like this, like just talking, like I started this page because I just wanted to like connect with people and like, I don't know, like I guess tell my story and hopefully encourage people to do cool big things with their life as well. Do you know what I mean? And feel like they're capable. So I want to get back to that. Have brand deals ever made you feel like a sellout? Or what's the worst brand deal you've ever done? To be honest, like I actually am, that's one thing I am quite like set on in terms of boundaries with. We've turned down quite a lot of brand deals, I think. Not in like a way, but like I value anyone who supports me and my content so much that I would never want to like push something that I don't actually use or believe in. Like I've terminated deals with brands I had ongoing because their messaging just didn't align, and especially with the whole food relationship, and I'm aware that I have a platform and where my audience is 90% female and a lot of you resonate with that, I feel very like a big amount of responsibility in terms of like what I put out there with that. If a brand made me feel like, this is why I'm also struggling, like not struggling, but I do find hard, like I have now made this my career, I have now made this like, I've got rent to pay, I've got a life to pay for, and when some like, and also the one thing that I also think is soul destroying about this job is that some months you might make money that you never even dreamed of making in a month, and then some months you make nothing, and that's really like hard. And so sometimes it's a bit like when you're in like a low period, or like just maybe like a brand's paying you like 3 months late, and you're like, oh fuck, do I want to be like take this deal that's been offered to me, even though it's like maybe not the most aligned thing ever. But we haven't really done that, and I think that's why I also really love my management as well, because if I'm ever feeling a little bit like stressed about stuff, they'll always put me at ease. And I'm very fortunate that I think if I ever got to a position where I felt like I was taking brand deals that didn't align and I felt like a sellout, I would try and find money elsewhere, albeit go be a barista somewhere. Is the online version of you aligned with the real one? Yeah, I try to be as me as I possibly can, but I also think what a lot of people like very easily forget is that you see, I mean, what I've been recording for 46 minutes, you see realistically maximum an hour of my day, maximum 2 hours of my week across YouTube and Reels and TikTok, and like there is so much that goes on that you don't see. My dating life has always been entirely offline. A lot of my relationship with food realistically the struggle's entirely offline. Like I might talk about my mental health, but there's so much that you don't see. And however much I try to be open, upfront, honest, completely transparent, sometimes it's really hard, especially when you're going through something. But I'd say like also like I do a lot of stuff with TRC, so TRC being my business, which I'm talking about next. A lot of the girls meet me in person, and I've never had feedback to be like, oh, she's a bit different, but also I don't know. I like to think I'm as authentic as I can be. Like I am just the same girl. Like I don't really like put on a persona. I know a lot of like creators do really well off of like having an online persona, but mine is just me. Just little old me. The Re Club. TRC. So basically, if you don't know, I actually started my business TRC before I started content. I started it in November. It's turning 3 next week. I'm gonna have a 3-year-old business. Mad. So I started it as an online coaching business. Did that for like 3 months. Started training for London Marathon. My clients were like, hey Queen, how are you now training for a marathon? You couldn't run 5k. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll make a TikTok. Made a TikTok. And I think it was the March I posted it. Took the fuck off. And I thought, oh, cool. I started TRC because I wanted to be self-employed. I did not work in a 9-to-5. ADHD didn't work for me at all. Could not deal with it. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to have an impact. I had struggled so much with my mental health and with my relationship with food and with my relationship with exercise. And I wanted to help other people feel fantastic, love their life, vibes. So that's what I was doing. And I suddenly started doing it with content on this way bigger scale. I was like, oh my God, I've gone from helping like my 20 clients to like 20,000 people in one video. Might have seen it. And I'm making more money from it. I was like, ooh, compute, make that make sense. So then I put a lot more energy into content, phased out coaching, did content full time for like 6 months, destroyed my mental health, shock, not vibes. Restarted TRC, which they now work together. But I started TRC as something that I wanted to do more because coaching just didn't really fulfill me. I didn't really like love that vibe. And because I knew it now had a bigger platform, I wanted to utilize that. I thought it was a cool opportunity. I thought, let's ride the wave, that's fun. And at the time I was I'd like moved into so many other sports. I wasn't just running anymore. I was doing high rocks, I was doing CrossFit, I was cycling. And so I thought, ooh, I want to travel with my exercise things now. And I also just like still want to run with girls and like meet like-minded people, friendships, like vibe that I've been talking about. And so now we're like run clubs, cycle clubs, London-based socials. We have a membership online with loads of affiliated brand discounts, and they get exclusive access to events, trips, and we run trips. So that's flying overview of TRC. Membership is literally $2.99 a month, and you get like mad discounts off of loads of brands. We do weekly check-ins and we do loads of chats, loads of advice. I did a winter running kit guide yesterday. It's like the girl gang, but the money just like helps us facilitate everything that we're doing. And we have our turns 3 party next week. So exciting. But on to the questions. Is there pressure to always be inspiring? I don't know how you do it was the original question. I think there's not pressure. I think I feel a responsibility to always be real, and the kind of mindset that I have that I think has got me to where I am today is the fact that I love to look at the bright side of things and I love to find the good in literally every situation. I've actually been told it's fucking annoying. Like I've hung out with friends before and they're like, oh my God, Rihanna's always like looking for the positives. And I was like, how's that a bad thing though? Like I get it if you're in a shit place and I'm there like, oh my God, but look at the good thing. Like I get it, it's a bit annoying, but I don't think I feel pressure to always be inspiring. I think I have that as like that's a value that I have, and so I live by that. So no, I don't really feel the pressure to be inspiring. I feel the responsibility to be real and honest, and like I love what I get to do. I don't really find that pressure, to be fair. I feel a lot less pressure to do TRC stuff than I do influencer stuff. I think TRC gives me massive purpose, and which is why I love doing it alongside influencer stuff, because I do love the influencer gig. I love the opportunity I have to reach so many people, and I also love creating stuff, and I love talking to people, and I also love filming my life. I've always loved taking photos, so like it's a great combination for me, but doing that solely destroyed my mental health, and having TRC gives me such a bigger purpose and also like a legacy, and I love the entrepreneur side of things. Like, do you know how much I'm loving building a business? Like, do you know how much I'm loving low-key? Like, TRC's got Slack now, I've got a team of 3, planning parties, getting like designers in, redoing the website, learning like all of this stuff. I think it's so much fun. Got an in-house finance team now. The book, so fun, love it. Have you ever felt like the club's success is bigger than you and you might fumble it? I don't really get this one. I think the club's success is bigger than me, and that's why I love it, and that's why I love TRC, because it's not just me, and I will never take full credit for it anymore. Like it's a whole fucking well-oiled machine. I don't think I'll fumble it. I back myself. I take quite a lot of pride in the fact that the whole time building TRC, I have always been open to change and adapt, and if something goes wrong, I'll live and I'll learn it and I'll hold my hands up if I've got it wrong. And I'm, again, like where I'm loving the entrepreneur side of things, I'm loving learning how to be a good boss. Like I'm loving the whole journey of it. I think it's so much fun. I don't think I'll fumble it. I think I will ride the wave as long as I can, and I will forever try and listen to my audience and the girls who are part of it and make it exactly what they need, and then also continue to make it an extension of what I've always needed. So like I wanted run clubs. I made run clubs at my kind of pace with my kind of vibe. I wanted trips, but I didn't know how. Let me do it for you, green. Like, I love to do all that shit, so that's just fun. What is the legacy you want beyond views and medals? And this is something I'm really working on right now, and I've actually been thinking about it. Like, now we're coming towards the end of 2025. I was thinking about what I really want, and especially where I've felt quite, like, lost at various different times this year. Like, what I've been trying to get clear on my values and, like, what genuinely brings me joy. And even spending time with my granny yesterday, like, she is... I want to get her on the vlog. I want to get her, like, in a video one day. I might try and, like, do a Q&A with Chris, because I feel like she's where I get a lot of my like mindsets from. I love that woman. Like we were talking about my granddad yesterday who passed away in 2018 and like how much I actually learned from him, and I just think that would be fantastic. But her quote that she likes to live by is that it's loving and giving that makes life worth living. And I always kind of like felt a bit weird about that growing up, because all of my family are super like givers, and I never had the same urge on a local level. Like they were all like loved working with children, loved working at the church. They got to live that value on a local scale, and I just never wanted to do that. I don't know what it was in me, and I think I always felt like quite a bad person for it. And now recently I think I found my way in that my way of giving and doing something nice for the world and having a bigger impact than just like whatever I was doing is from like, I don't know, like I love relating to people who are struggling with their relationship with food and seeing if I can help, or if I can get somebody to go on their first ever solo trip, or go on their first 5k, run their first half marathon, run their first marathon abroad. Like if I can get you to have the confidence to make your own morning routine video, or I don't know, post your first photo dump, or the confidence to wear the outfit, or I don't know. That's what I feel like my purpose is with that, and the legacy I want. So like the legacy I want, like I was saying, I want to be remembered, and I want to be the kind of person, not remembered, that sounds a bit fucking morbid. I want to be the kind of person who like does go above and beyond for people and like remembers little things, and like, so that's the legacy. I've been trying to think about the kind of person I really want to be, and it's someone who is like positive and somebody who is like super thoughtful and kind and caring. And like I love that I'm also working on this stuff with TRC, because like I said, that gives me such purpose beyond influencing, and for me that just like, I do love it. I think it's such a cool tool. I think it's such an amazing platform, like thing that we've got going. But when we did the TRC Mallorca trip last 2 weeks ago, that's the legacy I want. So many of those girls, was their longest ever bike ride, the first time they've been on a solo trip, the first time they've gone on a climb that big on their bike, the first time going on a trip where they knew no one, to like go and meet loads of new girls. And that's a legacy I want. I want to be able to like change people's lives in that kind of way. Like that, I love that so much. In terms of like medals, I think, yeah, again, like I have a lot of big goals for myself. I love being ambitious. I love setting myself big challenges and seeing what I can do. I don't know, I feel like I'm still working on it. Maybe we'll dive into that more time, but I've got 3 more questions and I want to do this in an hour. So what era are you currently in? I feel like I'm in a few eras. I'm currently deep in my wholesome era. Like, not really drinking so much, loving being in bed by 10 p.m, loving being up at 6, loving training hard, loving putting all of my energy into work and like that. But I feel like I'm also in like a real rebuilding era. Like a lot of this year has been struggle city, and I feel like I'm really, the last few weeks, really finding my feet again, which is just fucking fantastic. What's the life you're trying to earn for yourself? What are you aiming for? Any goals for 2026? 2026, I've got that big fitness challenge, which I'm going to announce soon. And Berlin, I really want to try and do sub 4. I mean, I have my 30 before 30 list, which I am going to do a big... I could just tell you that now. No, I'm going to do a whole video on that because I kind of want to talk you through it. But I've basically got this 30 before 30 list of things that I want to do. So I guess just working towards them, to be fair. And yeah, I'm going to go to Mallorca in the new year, and I'm going to build myself this new routine. I want to train really hard. I do want to get really fit because I know that it's never too late, but I also think I am 28 now. And if I am lucky enough to have kids, this is way forward thinking, but like some of the challenges I've been doing recently, like it will become infinitely more difficult if I get to that point where I have that kind of a life, like if I'm lucky enough to be a mum. And so if I'm going to do all these crazy fitness challenges, like I've got to do them now. And also like, well, my husband's probably away training for an Ironman somewhere. So I'm like, right, well, we can just both do our fitness shit now and then it's fine. We can like do that later on. So yeah, I've got big challenges that I want to do a lot of fitness stuff. I feel like now's my time. I'm really in my prime. I want to give it my best go. But I'm also open to slight plans changing. I don't know if that was helpful. That's me, the end of my questions now. That wasn't really a good one to end on. I guess it was. That's my goals for 2026. And we're also just under an hour. I smashed that. But yeah, like I said, any other questions, hit me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, feedback, feelings. I love to chat. I'll leave all of my links down below. You can follow me on Strava. my favourite social media. Instagram for daily content and TikTok for daily content at the moment. On here, please do like, subscribe. Thank you so much. It means the world. And that's it, I think. I'll also link TRC stuff in case you want to join. I'd love it if you joined. But I love you loads. Thanks so much for being here. I'll speak to you soon. Have gorgeous weeks. Have gorgeous days. Speak to you soon.